For the feasibility analysis, we'll start with economic costs, starting with finding funding to kickstart upkeep. Kickstart costs are extremely expensive, especially for the amount of programs that we are recommending. Kickstart costs are expensive because of the equipment, and in agriculture, especially urban agriculture, the equipment's very expensive as it needs to be small but very efficient, and it needs to be cost efficient in the long run. Another cost is making fresh food at a low cost, but still making money. In the south and west parts of Chicago, this is difficult as people can't afford fresh food currently, as seen by Whole Foods going down there and then having to close. So, keeping the fresh food at a low cost, but still being able to make money and continue these programs is a very difficult balance. We also have problems with paying for the education to train people to work in the settings. We want to bring in people from the area to work, but we need to educate them first, which requires paying for time. We hope to do this through an internship program through the school, which might be not paid, so that could help, but that still, it's kind of a difficult balance there as well. It's also hard finding funding through the university to run a partner program. This is why the internship would have to be unpaid or very low paid. That's how the urban agriculture program is here. It's not paid at all and it's expensive to run. So it kind of have to be the same here in our programs, just because we would need to pay for them to run and pay for the university to come in and help train, but we wouldn't be able to pay the students. There's also a cost for composting. Composting is very expensive to start up. It's very efficient and cost efficient in the long run, as it can be put straight back into the gardens and agricultural systems, but it's just difficult to get those initial startup costs. These can all kind of be outweighed through TIFs, which is the transformational investing in food systems, but this kind of helps teach about cash flow and running agricultural programs. This is very useful, especially in a city setting. Environmental concerns include we could produce more food waste through the new outlets, especially if the food waste is too expensive for people in the area. They might not be able to afford it, so the food would have to be wasted and thrown out if it goes bad. This could produce more food waste, which would be bad for landfills, but composting could help offset that. Buildings like Ogden can also take land space for community gardens and green spaces. So there'd be less green spaces in these areas, but the buildings can still have agricultural programs inside, like aquaponic and hydroponic systems. This kind of helps with the next point, which is poor air and soil quality in these areas of Chicago. Going directly into the ground could lead to a poor quality of crops. Having these buildings and keeping them inside using hydroponic and aquaponic systems could help very much. Social concerns include putting non-local people in jobs instead of locals. So by having the people from the university, by running internship programs and working, it kind of takes away from people in the area having those jobs. But a main goal of the internship program would to be educating the people in the area so that they could replace and start working in these jobs. They also might not like the idea of recycled school food. It's just school food is seen to be disgusting in general, but this could reduce food waste and add nutrition to a diet and hopefully with healthier foods. There's also still low wages in the area, which might not keep up with the inflation of products. This relates to the high cost of having fresh food. But hopefully by having work in these programs that can offset costs and include more wages that could be put towards the food. Another concern is the physical labor of farming. People don't like the aspect of farming or the physical labor of farming. That's why most farmers are 50 and older, and there's very few of them. So that's another concern. Our updated rating about the circularity of the solution is moderate. It's higher than the initial rating of the problem itself, because we are implementing these solutions help it, but there's a lot more that we can do, obviously. These metrics that we're using to rate this is the amount of food waste. There could be more food waste taken from not being able to afford food that we're producing through these programs, but that food could also be put towards composting, which could also reduce food waste, which that increases the rating. The amount of jobs would also increase because of these programs and the education, which increases the rating as well. The ability to access fresh food is a huge issue, which is why the rating was so low to begin with. And that's why we searched up this problem in the first place. So having these programs in these specific areas of Chicago would help access fresh food and gain the ability to do so. We also want to keep materials in use. So by composting, recycling food and packaging, this reuses everything and keeps it more circular.